Hi you guys, my name is Cherita and I need an intro. Welcome to my channel. By the title, as you guys can see, this video is going to be about Shane Dawson and how I feel about the docuseries that he did with Jake Paul, but I'll also be touching on some other subjects within this entire video. So go ahead and keep watching. So I'm really just gonna jump right into this subject because I have a lot. I took notes because a girl has a lot to say. So basically what I'm going to start off by saying is I think Shane is an amazing content creator. I mean, I've watched his last couple of docuseries. I watched the TanaCon, I watched the Jeffree Star, and I watched Jake Paul. All of them, I mean, have piqued my interest. They kept my interest. It was an amazing, he did such a good job, and I don't want to take that away from him because I know how much time and energy goes into doing these videos and editing and making sure that the content and the quality is good enough for everybody to enjoy. So I'm not taking any of that away from him. However, the last 3 docuseries that he has done have been on problematic YouTubers. Tana is very problematic in her own ways. Jeffree Star is problematic in his own ways. Jake Paul is problematic in his own ways. And we do know that even Shane Dawson himself has had a problematic past with racism and blackface and using words, racial slurs that he shouldn't be using. And he has apologized for it. But at the same time, the best apology is change behavior. And while, yes, I feel like we've seen a change in his behavior, but the fact that he keeps giving his platform to problematic influencers doesn't show that he has really changed maybe his thoughts about certain things. Just because he hasn't said anything or done anything doesn't mean that he's 100% changed. In both the Jeffree Star series and the Jake Paul series, he does bring up the topic of racism, which is amazing because that's something that needs to be talked about. The only problem is he's talking about racism to people who it doesn't even directly affect. So is he really doing justice? Is he really doing something for this topic? Or is he just giving a platform to people to explain their racist behavior? I feel like with the past 2 series, he's become a racist sympathizer. He has not turned any of these racist moments into a learning experience, which is something he should be doing, which is something he should be doing with this docuseries. That's just my opinion. And if you think about it, Shane has not given his platform to a person of color on this topic, and this is just me, and I could be wrong, but I think the reason why he hasn't done it is because he is afraid of the backlash that he's going to receive from his audience. Now, you guys are probably saying, well, he got a bunch of backlash from this last series, and a girl did tweet something to Shane Dawson and said, hey, stop giving racists a platform, and he went off. He said he told the girl to F off. He handled it very childish and it's not his most proud moment. But at the same time, he's only getting backlash from people of color and non-people of color who truly understand the seriousness and the realness of racism that we still face nowadays. Now, majority of his watchers are impressionable young kids, and let's be honest, majority of his audience are white people. And so if he were to give a person of color a platform, he would probably get a lot of backlash from the majority of his viewers. And the reason why I say this is because a couple years ago, Gabby Hanna, who is another huge influencer on YouTube, she did a video about Black Lives Matter and white privilege, and she got so much crap for it. But at the same time, there were a few people that were like, thank you for this. I understand why you did it. Thank you for using your platform. But once again, the people that were thanking her were the people of color and the people that understand the seriousness of systemic racism in America. And I don't think Shane wants to put that on the line. But what Shane doesn't understand is he has the means to educate people that don't want to listen to Black people. Because there are a lot of people out there that always say, oh, Black people are too sensitive. They make everything about race. And instead of people listening to understand, they just listen to respond. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes allies, it takes white allies for other white people to understand the seriousness of what's going on in America. So one of the main reasons why a lot of people are upset at this very last episode of the Jake Paul series is in the video, Jake Paul is talking about the Martinez twins, which are from Spain, which Spain is in Europe, and that's very critical. Jake was talking about how they would banter back and forth, and the Martinez twins would be like, oh, stupid Americans, and Jake Paul would go back and say, oh, well, you're such a B word, which traditionally, the B word is a racial slur towards the Latino culture, mainly Mexicans. So the fact that he said it to these European guys shows how ignorant that racial slur was, because he didn't even say it to the right person or to the right ethnicity. There's a huge difference between race and ethnicity, and a lot of people don't understand that, and it's very frustrating. And Shane Dawson did not take that opportunity. Well, first of all, he didn't even bleep out the word, which in my eyes, like, if you're going to use a racial slur, like, you could have gotten your point across without saying the actual word. I don't understand the point of saying it. He didn't blur it out or beep it out or censor it. And then on top of that, he just sat there and was like, He didn't stop him and say, hey, that's not cool. He didn't take that moment and turn it into a teaching lesson. And I understand Jake was using it in context, but you don't always have to say something in context. Like, we get it. We understand. We know what the word was. So back to what I was talking about earlier about Gabby, who did her video about Black Lives Matter and white privilege. No, like, since then, I don't feel like any other big non-person of color YouTuber has done anything like that before. And like I said, Shane is doing documentaries and interviewing the wrong people if he wants to talk about race, because it's not affecting them. Like, it's just not. And so I understand what he's trying to do, but he's definitely going about it the wrong way. And I want Shane to prove us wrong. I want him to do a series with a person of color. I want him to talk to people that have been through police brutality. I want him to talk to people who are victims and who go through the daily lives of systemic racism. And I want him to show people that Black people just aren't being sensitive, that it's a real life thing. Before I wrap this up, Shane is a very empathetic person. He feels for people. But when he's interviewing, like, he takes their feelings and he doesn't want to challenge them, and he makes things very easy because he doesn't want them to feel bad or feel uncomfortable. And that's kind of where the problem lies within some of these interviews, because he becomes very biased. His questions become very, very biased. And now he's making all of these problematic people more likable because he's showing everybody the good parts of people. And I'm not saying that every person that he's done the docuseries on is a terrible human being and they need to be shunned for life or whatever. But he needs to point out the good, the bad, and the ugly, and he needs to make them uncomfortable. He has to, because that's where the reality comes. And I don't know, because I mean, there's so many people after every single docuseries. Oh my gosh, I stan Jake Paul. I stan Jeffree Star. Not so much the Tana thing, because Tana, that was about a whole different situation. It really didn't have anything to do with like politics or race or anything like that. As far as the Jeffree Star and the Jake Paul thing, yeah, like, a lot of people are feeling sorry for them and, oh, maybe they're really not that bad of a person. And I'm not saying that they are, but at the same time, it's like, ask them the questions that are going to make them uncomfortable so that we can see truly who they are. So basically what I'm trying to say is that Shane Dawson, I challenge you. I challenge you to do a docuseries on systemic racism in America. People would love to see that. There's so much more that goes into negative stereotypes against people of color than just the surface level. And I mean, this can go on for hours and hours and hours. And so why not put your platform to good use? Because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people of color out there that are exhausted. So if you guys think that Shane should take on this challenge, share this video. Share this video with him, because I think he can do something really, really good with it. And that's just my opinion, because I respect him as a content creator. So that is it for my video today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and also click subscribe. And for my final thoughts, please do not forget to be the change that you want to see in the world. Bye.